Let's try this again. Hello, how are you? Hopefully everyone is doing well. It's always nice when I don't start muted, but it is one of those days. But I did actually get Happy Mail this week, and then I got a project request. So, yes. Oh, hello, Kat. Who? Hello, Kai. How are you? Hello, lots of people. Cordelia, Pam, Jamie, Crystal, T is here, Chow is here. I don't know, like everybody's here. And I did break down and finally do a winter background because it's kind of that season. But I actually got a project request, so we'll do that later, which was essentially if you're new to card making, what on earth are you going to do with a poinsettia stamp? Which we have lots of. Hey, Brenda, how are you? Lots of things we can do with it. But I had thoughts. So let me just bounce down to my desk and make myself little and tiny and hope we don't have internet issues again. I don't know. It's funny. I don't know how many of you guys are Craft Roulette patron members, but like the patron show I did was just a hot technological mess. But anyway, I think my internet just hates me. But this is piece one of Happy Now, which is I was cleaning and found a what's probably ink from Catherine Pooler because it was organized with my paper. Because why would I do that? But we'll see what I bought. I think they're greens if I remember correctly. And it's odd because I own this one already, but green tea I don't own. Oh, I got some really neat colors. I don't have Garden Party. I don't have green tea, and I don't have Skylight. These are more muted colors. Grass skirt I have, but I think I thought it was there. I think I had gotten contaminated the pad. I think that it wasn't just that I didn't know what I was buying, but anyway, more ink because I only have a little tiny bit of Catherine Pooler ink on my desk right now, because it is my favorite one. I have a bunch of pigment ink too, but I tend to use the dye-based ink. But then we have, I don't know if he's here or not, but we have a thing from Mr. Brian of BD Crafts and More had sent me something. So I thought I would open this here as well. Let me see. I am missing all the fun things you're saying. Everybody's saying hi to each other. Oh, Cindy, how are you? Nice to see you. We should. I actually color things. I swear. Most of them are things I stamp or print out, but I do actually do coloring things. So if there's a particular subject matter, let me know. Hey, Shay. I don't think I've seen you here before, but welcome. I know we have seen each other around the various rooms. It is a pretty fat package. And speaking of fun packages, if you're around next, hey Elizabeth, how are you? If you're around next Saturday, we're doing a rematch of the mini card kit swap thing over on LB Handcrafted or Lynn's channel, and I think that'll be fun because we each swapped with a different person, and this time I got to give Delise things, but I didn't bother sending instructions because they would just be reinterpreted anyway. But I think this was yes, that's what this is. So Brian had done a giveaway with some of his Stampin' Up customers, including me, and I guess I was the one who won the random draw. And this is a Wonderful World, which is kind of it's a red rubber stamp, so I guess it actually this reads pretty well on camera. Wow, well that's good to know. It reads way better than the clear ones. But anyway, it's sort of a sketch floral kind of thing, which is funny because the inspiration for tonight's project is kind of a sketch floral thing. So that's thing one. Thank you, Brian. That was very generous of you. I'm always a fan of. I mean, I'm not like a super floral person, but I like things like this just because they're so because there's let me do this because there's so much shading built into the stamp. They are like super easy to color, so I'm a big fan of anything like that. And then Some of you may know what this is. This is from Craft Roulette World headquarters, otherwise known as St. Louis. The one in Kansas City. The one in Missouri, not Kansas. And because the story here is because I've made a bunch of process videos for them, they were kind enough to send me their new die set that I don't know if let me see if I can have their stamp set handy. I don't know that I do, but we'll see. I'm pretty sure it's. Oh, I may have organized it. Don't see it next to my desk. Let me check one other place. Nope. Oh, well, the curse of organizing your desk. You don't know where the heck anything is. Anyway, there's a stamp set that goes along with this that has the outline of a wheel and sort of the actual pie pieces that would go inside of the wheel. But this is a coordinating die set, so the sets go well together. So I think we'll do a demo with this maybe next week, but we'll see. But it was really cool. And I don't know. The show I did last week was the first time I had talked to Mary Gunn Fun or Stephen Gunn, and they were pretty awesome. Let me see what y'all are saying, because isn't it? Yeah, they gave the die set to the top 5 process video people who I came in number 4 somehow, which is weird because I haven't done a lot of their process videos since I started streaming because half of them became streamed. And then it was like, I don't know. I don't want to force someone to watch an hour stream. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like watching them on replay, if you like that, is cool, but it kind of does, doesn't it? Like, you could definitely make an orange out of this. You could make, you could do citruses. The thing I thought would be interesting is if you actually put a brad through it and made an actual spinning wheel that, not necessarily like, a wheel that looks like this, but, I recall that there have been some really neat cards that have been kind of almost like, I'll date myself, but like if you remember the Viewmaster, like, uh, they weren't really toys. They were more like educational things. I guess some of them had like cartoons in them, but I mean, I think they were essentially uh, like a slide projector that you could look through for kids. But anyway, this reminded me of some of the Viewmaster things, and I think someone actually came out with a Viewmaster die set at one point. But anyway, that's what we got in our no buy, but we got mail anyway kind of week. So I always am so happy when people are so generous, and I'm happy when you guys show up. And that's always kind of fun too. But let us talk about they are. I like the idea of like making a card that kind of looks like a Viewmaster with a wheel where you could sort of turn it and get like different scenes or a story or something. Yeah, no, and my friend Lynn actually did one that looked entirely like a Viewmaster, but you couldn't actually see anything. It just had a Viewmaster and a wheel that turned. I'm explaining that badly, but it was, I think it was like a memory dex die, which is sort of like, if you remember Rolodex cards. Oh, I actually have one. I need to stop talking about things and not showing you. Yes, I know where it is. So this is a memory dex card. Basically, it would just fit in a Rolodex, but this one is a camera, but there's one of these one of my friends did that was a viewfinder. Anyway, the thing that folks were interested in seeing is what would you do with a poinsettia die? So let's talk about that. I happen to have just made a poinsettia card like a week ago. So this was kind of my jumping off place. This is a stamp, and I used colored pencil to color this. This is actually kind of a fun technique. I don't know if I did it in a video or not. It's really a technique from Karen Day Hightower, who is a stamp designer for Gina K now, but did some really cool classes on these. But basically, you just stamp an image on white and then you overcolor it with colored pencil. And you get kind of this neat, like, there's no line kind of vibe, like, hey, maybe you just sketched it, which is kind of a lie. But anyway, I was thinking if basically you have sort of a focal point and not a lot else, really you're going to probably wind up with a fairly simple card where you basically have like a big thing and then other stuff. And so I thought of two variations on this that we can play around with. And I grabbed a couple other products, but I did sort of pre-cut because I know you guys probably have better things to do than watch me cut things. So the first one I die cut out and got mostly ready to go. If I didn't lose the little centerpiece, is pretty true to life. Well, pretty true to that card anyway. Oops, I bent one of these, but that's fine. That's the nice part about this foil paper. It's really resilient. Anyway, so you have basically the stamen, or I guess they're not stamen. They're actually the flowers of the poinsettia. Because like the poinsettia basically has these red modified leaves. But anyway, so this die basically just stacks up. This is basically some craft cardstock like this I had left over, and I just inked it a little bit to get sort of a nice dark green, but to do more of a muted green. And then I die cut out two more of these. Let me actually grab this die set because it's kind of interesting. What you can do with it, basically what you do is you wind up layering these together and then you would just glue them down, and then we would pretty much have our flower together. You can also, using a bone folder or anything kind of like this, it has like a rounded edge. You can also kind of round up these petals. I'm probably not going to do that because I wind up mailing so many of my cards. But if you like kind of that sort of 3D flower look, you can definitely do that. Oh, hi Lala, how are you? Fancy seeing you in 2 or 3 streams today. I hope you're doing well. And Leslie, welcome. Poinsettia. Yeah. Well, I don't know. So the funny story is my dad minored in botany in college, and I don't know. There's sort of poinsettia, and poinsettia. So there are like 4 or 5 different ways to pronounce it. So yeah, I don't know. I believe the one with an I is correct, and like poinsettia or poinsettia is not. But I mean, I think it depends. I'll say. So I guess I should also say the flower here is actually slightly a shimmer cardstock, so that's why it's reading as a little pink on it's more pink on camera than it is in real life. But it definitely, because it's doing some reflecting, is a little bit red. But this with actually, what was I? Oh, let me show you the die set because this one's actually kind of neat. Whoa, we're losing things. If I can find it. There we go. And this is my Happy Holidays die that's unrelated, but it actually has 5 potential layers. So I just did the first 3. Sorry, that's off camera. And you can see this is a sort of a standard A2, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And that's just using the 3 panel, these first 3. But like you can see, like if you actually, these 2 are still connected, but like if you use this one, it would be on the card, but just barely. But if you punched out, I guess you do 3 of these to sort of finish off the flower. You can make a really huge one if that's kind of your thing. I saw some really neat versions of this particular setup where you had sort of the look of like a huge flower, but I think we'll just stick with doing sort of something a little more straightforward for the first one. And then the second one I cut out of mostly white and a very light blue to kind of, I want to try that look that I've seen a lot lately, which is sort of this white on white thing. But of course, I couldn't actually do white on white because I kind of find it slightly boring. So I had to do something else. But anyway, I think what I'll just do is grab one of our sentiments and sort of follow this card a lot and basically just put something at the bottom and then put the flower sort of center middle, like if this was a square, you'd kind of put it in the middle. I also grabbed, mostly for the other card if we get there, I grabbed some completely clear enamel dots. So if we want to do like a dewdroppy thing. The neat thing about this particular stamp set, well, we'll just use our white, is it's got like a ton of sentiments. And we could do this in white or we could do it in black. I'm thinking I kind of like how it looks in the black, and well, maybe we could do Merry Christmas since the other one said Happy Holidays. There's also a scripty Happy Holidays. I do like the Joy to the World one as well. Have a Holly Jolly Christmas would be kind of fun. Except for this isn't Holly, but I don't know. Hey Blossom, how are you? I hope all is well. I hope you are in a warm climate. It really is. It's not. It's one I bought last year and didn't use because, like, see my prior comments about not being that much of a floral person. But I think it's really. I think I'll say I love the idea of sort of 3D flowers. Let me make sure this isn't upside down because we've done that before. I really like the idea of doing like a really 3D flower on a card because I love the look. Then I mean I'm kind of like, well, how do you mail that? But you know, and maybe we'll try this. I'm not sure how this will work out. We'll see. This is Midnight, which is a very dark blue that I've used on all sorts of other stuff. I think we'll try that because I think it will give a sort of black look, but we'll see. If we hate it, we can always turn the card panel over and try the other side. But I have really been liking this color lately, so I don't know. I think it will be interesting to see how it looks. Let's give it one more go. I'm sorry, you're way off screen. That's how the Merry Christmas looks, except it looks less good in real life. Because it definitely needs another round. It's interesting. You can, like in this particular light, you can actually see how the pigment ink is really staying on the surface. Here we go. That looks great. Okay. Just let that dry by the side for a sec. And see where I put my rag, because of course I organized today and a lot of people were streaming, so part of that was like I was able to kind of organize my desk while other people were streaming. Whoop, there we go. The good news is I die cut a sentiment for the other one, so I think we don't need to do much more stamping. And we can work on putting the flowers together. This is a pretty easy one because there's sort of a circle here where you would put the glue, and then all you really have to do is stamp it down and wait it while the glue adheres. Let me see if I am missing other folks. Whoop, there we go. Let's see what's up. Annie is saying hi to everybody. Is saying hi to each other. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I like the idea of organization. I feel like I should at some point like actually have like a schematic or something where I know where I'm organizing things to. Hey Debbie, how are you? Because it's like I organize things and put them in smart places and then don't remember where they are. Yeah, this is a prickly pear set, actually, Elizabeth. It's their Christmas banners. They have a Halloween and other banner things. It got a little squishy here, but I don't know. I'm kind of okay with it. I don't know. I guess it depends. I'm kind of okay with sort of a rustic look for pretty much all of my cards, but I'm surprised because usually that doesn't happen. But hey, the joys of a life. But anyway, it seems like that has dried pretty nicely. So let's put our flower together and then figure out what color card we want to put this on. What else should I mention? This die does emboss, so there's kind of this a pretty side where the embossing is nice, and then there's the side that sort of would be sort of the bottom when the die is cutting through. So I put a lot of cards together when I was new, and I put them together backwards, and this side looks a lot less impressive than this side, which I don't know if it reads on camera or not, but you know. And you don't really need gluing paper to paper, you need very little glue. So like I'm using like that much glue on this, and then I'm just going to put this down and just let it kind of set for a minute. You can use any kind of weight you have. I tend to use stamp blocks because I have them on my desk, but really anything that is weighted works. And there was something I used to use that was really weird. Oh, I would tend to use like coffee cups and stuff when I was new. I'm not sure why. Even now, that seems like it would be a bad idea, but this is probably done enough to start putting the other layers on. The other thing I found that really helped me when putting dies together is find a glue that like grabs really quickly so that you can at least sort of be working with that. The other thing that's hard for me, but may not be hard for other people, is flowers aren't symmetrical and perfect, and they look a lot better when they come out a little wonky. Um, so, like, I'll say it not being perfect can actually be a nice thing. And you can see as the layers build up how cool these things look. I mean, I really like them. So the only one here that gets a little tricky is this last one, and that's because it's very delicate. I'll use tweezers to hold on to this, but if you, well, actually, I think most people here are either card makers or diamond painters, so they probably have tweezers in their life already. But if you didn't, you don't actually need these. I like the ones that just sort of grip themselves, but basically you can just sort of line this up and then squish it down and then like give it about 30 seconds. The two glues I've heard that people like a lot are this is actually PVA glue, which is actually designed for bookbinding, so it's like super cheap on Amazon. I probably have some here. This is the old one I have, but I have a new one as well. Um, and Barely Arts people like a lot. I don't know. Do I have? I have some somewhere, but people have had good luck with Barely Arts in terms of it gripping pretty quickly. One of the people who does interactive cards, it was either Lynn uses this glue a lot, but somebody I think Karen Burniston also is a big fan, which is kind of why I have her glue bottle. But she does pop up dies and other sort of like really interactive things. Anyway, but the good news is because the glue grips quickly, this is all pretty much together. That's also one reason I like Michael's foil cardstock because it's not foil on the bottom, so like the glue can actually glue. But basically, we just are all pretty much just have to glue this down, and then we have a pretty impressive looking card for it not taking us very long. So I'm kind of feeling like a green. I have a whole box of dropping things on the floor constantly, but I have a whole box behind me that I got from Hobby Lobby. These are A2 card bases. Their store brand goes on sale every so often, and then you can buy them at not a lot of money, which is usually how I prefer to do it. It seems I have actually cut this this is a little too tall for what I want. I kind of want to, and I have enough space at the bottom. I think I can just either cut that off or how do we feel? Maybe I may cut it off at the top. Anyway, let's do that. Because clearly I was having like measurement issues today for whatever reason, which happens every so often. But I'll just cut this to 5 1/4, and we should be good. Yeah, so this will give us a 1/4 inch all the way around, and then we can just glue this guy down. And I think that looks pretty cool. I'm a big fan. I mean, I'm a big fan of classic Christmas everything. I do like the blue. I do find that like this blue looks black next to particularly like sprucey greens like these. I guess these aren't quite sprucey, but you know what I mean. Like a blue undertone green. I think it looks pretty neat on. Hey Annie, let me see. Oh, I hope you're feeling all right, Delise. Delise has been recuperating, so hopefully things are good. I use silicone to make your paper look 3D, like a silicone gel of some sort, or what was the other thing? The other thing I've seen people who use like I know that some people here are fans of the 3D glue gel, which I have yet to use. It sort of works like essentially if you don't squish it down, it allows you to get a little more um, dimension. Basically, it's nice if you have to support things like not like this flower that's big, but like if you have I don't know what do we have? Like if you look at this girl, like, it'd be hard to like tape underneath the her flower bouquet, right? Stuff like that is really nice for the 3D glue gel. And we could pop this up if we wanted to. We could put some foam tape on this, or um, I had some little foam dots somewhere that I also organized into not knowing where they are anymore. Um, that's an option. I think I'll glue this one flat, but we'll keep those as potential options. Um, Because I just kind of like this looking very straightforward and Christmassy. You can play around with how high you like this. I often like the same margins on the side and the top when you're kind of doing this sort of a look where it's sort of like, essentially you're looking at one thing primarily. Oh, do you? See, the thing I'm curious about is like I think you need to like repackage it kind of into like I know Lynn repackages it into sort of like large syringes. I don't know. That was always the part about it that I was like, oh, this sounds really complicated. Um, anyway, to glue this down to the card, I am going to glue to, I guess, what I would call the leaves. You might call them the petals. It depends. We don't need a ton here because basically we just need to make sure this stays down, and that's not going to be too hard because it's pretty much glued together already. Um, the other nice thing about this particular glue is that it doesn't dry shiny, but something like a tacky glue would dry shiny if you like that look. And this is kind of a low bling Christmas card, so depending on how you feel about that, like there's a lot of ways we could have, done something a little more interesting to the background if you wanted this to be a little more high impact. Anyway, I think that is good and pretty straightforward. The neat thing is you actually get a pretty nice amount of dimension even if you assemble this flat. Um, but obviously you could go pretty hog wild in terms of like adding some dimensional and making this thing really pop. But I will set this guy to the side and we will see if our ideas makes it if our white on white idea is a good idea or a bad idea. I have my doubts, but let's grab blue because I can't quite bring myself to do all one color palette. But what I did do for this one, I did a couple things differently. The flowers are the same, except they are. Make sure I have all of my. Oh, there's my little centerpiece. I did cut out. Oh, good. This is gonna. I did cut out a sentiment that says "Happy Holidays." We could, and I made a. I embossed a base panel here. This actually is it. It's light blue in real life. It's hard to tell unless you're comparing it against white that this is not white. It's that kind of sort of a wintry blue. But I'll let you pick. If you think this would, well, let's see how this would look. Again, so if I put this against white, it looks a lot more blue. I kind of like the green and blue together, honestly, as sort of like wintry colors, but I don't know. Um, Now we could assemble it kind of like this and have the happy holiday. So if you wanted to if we wanted to do something different, I guess we could basically have our happy holidays more to one corner essentially. And then let me just move this out of the way so I don't lose it. But um, they're all white poinsettia, one of those things. Um, and you can actually like interlock these. I believe they're technically bracts, but leaves affected modified leaves effectively. Um, so like if you did something like this would be kind of it's in the corner and like you would be putting this in a larger envelope. So that's one option. The other option is to do almost exactly what we did for the other card, which would be to assemble it more like this. This is a much larger sentiment, so it will. I mean, you could do that. I kind of like the way I had it first, honestly. And how do I feel about the white? Doop-a-doop-a-doo. I guess the other thing that's worth saying, if you're new to card making, to plagiarize one of my favorite card makers, who is Sarah Lenz from Sassy LLC, is that not every card is going to be the most perfect thing you've ever made. So like you may have bad ideas, but often the people you give the cards to aren't going to mind one way or the other. And if you make a bunch of them, you'll get good at it eventually. I haven't gotten to that point, but I don't know. I like both. I feel like the white card base would be sort of more in keeping with this idea. Yeah, let's do tone on tone and just like not bring another color in. I think you're right, Blossom. That will be. Except this. I may grab another one of these card bases. This one is a little mangled. I bought way too many of these like value card bases, which I'm actively trying to use up because they're fairly lightweight. So like if I really wanted to do anything that's going to be, I do a lot of cards that are sort of one layer, so it works out for me. But this one looks better. Yeah, you like I like this as tone on tone. Good call. What other options? I do kind of like doing this as one of these. Like it's kind of falling off the card focal points. They're probably not called that. They probably have a really fancy name. But I mean, like, I do kind of like this as a look. It looks a little because like you could still let's see. This is 5 inches ish. So like you could still fit this in a 5x7 envelope and like mail it. I may try doing that. The other option is we could just sort of um, slightly cover the happy holidays, but I don't know that I like that as much. Anyway, maybe I'll stop workshopping things and see what y'all are saying. Yeah, I like it too. Oh, do you? Okay. Well, maybe we'll do the green then. I mean, I like both ways, honestly. I don't know, like, I've actually liked all your cards that I've seen, I think. I haven't seen any that I've been like, "Oh, that one looks weird," but I don't know, I feel like we're always, like, the worst critics of our own cards, like, "Hello, Kamado," or "Kamado, Kamado." Let me see if I'm missing any thoughts. Yeah, I mean, I think the ones like, I would never call anybody else's cards bad, but the ones I've had that I haven't loved have been more I haven't loved them because they haven't matched the thing that was in my head when I was making them, so yeah, they are. They're very slightly. This is an icy blue, so you can see it on the Happy Holidays. I guess you can't. This is not this is not reading quite true. No, it's reading white, but in real life it's blue. Imagine that the Happy Holidays is a light blue. Um, but anywho, let's see what they do, but they really aren't. I'll have to take a picture when we're done because I don't know. I feel like for whatever reason my camera has a nasty habit of way watching out the color on my lives and then it looks better later. No, yes, yeah. I mean, you are correct, Lala. Bob Ross was correct about that. Hello. Anyway, so I heard one person like the green, and I kind of like the green better, so I think we'll do that. And um, we'll see when our pictures come up. We'll take a look at it. I mean, I think this sort of idea is. I think because the blue and the white look really similar, we'll still have the same basic idea, but I don't know. So let's start gluing some of our pieces together. Now, these can be kind of tricky. I really like word dyes where they all kind of stick together. Like I hate having to like do individual like place individual letters because I'm not good at doing it on a straight line. So I do really like these. The one thing is you will need less glue than you think you do. You also don't need to glue every little thing. You just sort of need to get enough glue so that anything that might get a little stuck is glued. And this one only really has this one part in the middle here that holds it all together. So, anyway, the challenge is not doing too much glue. I've heard, although I have yet to try it, that, whoops, there we go. Um, there's like a Xyron sticker maker thing that in theory makes it a lot easier because you can basically just make the happy holidays in this case. Whoa, there we go. You can just sort of make it into a big sticker, which will make it sort of stay down a lot nicer. Um, and what we can do while this, have to be careful depending on the cardstock, but you can kind of wipe away any excess glue as long as we're not destroying our cardstock. This is because this is shimmer, it's coated and it's a little safer, but it is. Whoop, let's not do that. That is the risk. Anyway, I may just leave this alone, but happy holiday. Is that why the way it's supposed to be? Oh, I guess it is. I guess this is for like the tail on the Y. Anyway, let us apply our block and make sure we have good, sure everything is down. I think we're pretty good. Um, this is kind of why I like this glue because it is pretty easy to wipe off. The one thing is depending on who made your colored cardstock. If the cardstock is just sort of dyed on the surface, you may start wiping the color off of your cardstock, which I have done, and then we call it a distressed card. But just kidding. I actually have though. Like it's like, well, I guess it'll be vintage now. Let's just dye it a different color. Um, anyway, I'm probably gonna get Dawn and T are gonna kick me out of the making vintage anything. It's like, no, no, it's not just adding like 9 layers of stuff on top of it. It's there is a lot of skill to it when you do it well. I sometimes don't do it well, but it's a creative thing, and sometimes it's just sometimes I don't know. I find like backgrounds are the most fun thing to make when I'm feeling like not super creative, just because they're just kind of fun. I mean, they're just kind of playful. I'm not using the tweezers on this particular one, but if you wanted to, you could. Since this paper is coated, it gives us a pretty decent amount of time to move things around before the glue grabs. This glue is really fast to grab on like uncoated paper, just FYI. It would surprise me the first time I did it because it was like I had something down for like 10 seconds and pulled it up and pulled part of the paper apart. Anywho, let me see. Uh, these are both cat scrappiness dies. This is I don't remember what this is probably called Happy Holidays. This is I think the only poinsettia die they make. It came out last year, I want to say, but it's one it fell into my last year. I don't know what happened around Christmas, but I kind of hit this like somehow I had a bunch of dyes I hadn't touched yet. But anyway, it's really I really like the flora. Like she does a really nice job with floral and she does some really nice leaves and foliage and stuff like that. I'm much more of like a wreath and foliage kind of person than you know a floral person. But I mean, I think there are certain things like, there we go. But I think the thing that's really cool about this is like when you glued it down with just the center point, like these petals sort of lift off, except they're not petals, but you know what I mean. The things the the leaves that look like petals, because like I don't know, they're an odd flower. But I'm kind of liking where we're going with this. So we shall continue. Getting things lined up evenly is also a little bit easier with glue. Although with something like this panel, I would glue anyway, because if you can see, like when this runs through the embossing folder, basically, well, I have one here. Never mind. But basically, what it will do is it'll push the paper up, so that part of the paper isn't actually making contact. So, like a glue is going to make it easier. The other thing at this point that I like to do is figure out which way the card opens. You don't glue the whole thing on upside down, which I've done a whole bunch of times. I've done it live a bunch of times too. But um, anyway, I should see if I can mess with the light at all. Let me try that. I'm curious if I can change, like if oh, that's not working. Never mind. I'm curious if like I put this on if the light was on like a warmer temperature, if you could tell. See, because this looks white, but it's actually this is blue and the text is blue. So on screen this is looking like white on white, but in real life it's sort of seafoam green, very light blue, and then everything else is white. And I think we'll do this because I don't know. I think this just looks kind of neat. I'd be pretty excited to receive a card that looked like that. Um, the other thing we could have done if we wanted to keep the entire flower on here is we could have just used one less. You could even now you could go in and just cut these petals off, except they're not petals. Anyway, you could do something like that if you wanted to keep it all on the card. But one of the nice things about using a smaller size card like this is that even if you're going over the edge a bit, you can always put it into a larger envelope. And we will just Stick you down. I will post some pictures of this. Oh, I didn't glue down my sentiment. Whoops. I guess this will be pretty close. Yeah. Probably good to glue the card together. I don't know. You can tell it's like Sunday because it's like you're like, oh yeah, I should probably glue those things together. Anyway, same thing applies. We don't need a ton, but I do want to get this. I kind of want to tuck this under this pedal just because I think that sort of looks like a neat look. And I mean, I think naturally you'd sort of assume that the flower would be more towards you looking at this. There we go. Now that is together, and we can look at our two sort of variations and see what we like about them. See, now this is, I don't know, it's still not looking blue. It's not it what I swear it's not white on white, but it looks that way on camera. Oh yeah, that would be a good way you could do this too. So you could push up the sentiment and then you could sort of yeah, you could have moved the flower down and then popped up the sentiment. That would have been a really good idea. I like that. That would look cool. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't figured out the weird thing is like my camera will sometimes show very true colors and sometimes doesn't, but I mean, I don't know. I find like the nice thing about taking photos is you can actually like color correct them to look like what it looks like. Or I guess I should say what it looks like to me. You actually are kind of almost seeing color separation now, which is interesting. But let me bring this up closer. But I will take a picture for you so you can tell. But this is sort of the look we had the first time around, and then, or I should say, the second time. And then the first one is a lot more traditional. Again, I would say this is looking pinker on camera than it does in real life. This is more of a true red. But some if you look at compared to the original, like I did use a darker red, so you could also use a more. I feel like a darker red might be a little more. I don't know, true to what the flower actually looks like. And the stamens are actually either like a light green. Or I shouldn't call them stamens. The blood, like the actual buds, are like light green, and then when they open, they're yellow. So I mean, technically, like like a green, like a lighter green than the leaves would probably have been more botanically accurate. But anyway, I think that's what I have for you tonight. We're a little shorter than usual, but I appreciate all you guys for dropping by and taking a look at this. I will let me see. I know a lot of you are members of Lynn's Facebook group. I will drop a picture there. I'll also throw one on my community tab since I know we had some new people and they may or may not be in that particular group. Yep. I did kind of cheat in that I tend to do die cutting ahead of time because I feel like die cutting is really boring to watch people die cut. Like, I feel like the only time I like doing die cutting is if it's, like, an actual, like, mystery challenge where you don't know what you have. Anyway, thanks, Stamper Girl. I kinda do too. I mean, I know I would definitely gravitate towards the more traditional one, but, that how they are all work out. Let me see. What else should I tell you about? It is going to it was how long have I been maybe a year? I've only been going live for maybe oh, and I think my cat wants to say hi. He might bump random things because he's standing on my desk now. I've been going live for maybe 3 months or so. Lynn wanted to do an interview at one point. Before then, wow, I am, like, not on camera at all today. Well, that's weird. Anyway, what just happened? Anyway, we have our no. Oh, I don't know. It's weird. My camera's deciding to be screwy. Anyway, so maybe 3 months ago, I did an interview with Lynn, and then I started doing live streams more frequently, and, well, you can't see my face right now, but you saw my face earlier, so I've been kind of doing sort of a similar setup to, how Debbie J does hers, where you sort of have a little bit of me in a lot of the project, because I don't know, it's kinda nice. But I've probably been doing this particular live for 2 or 3 months now? I don't know. I've been having a lot of fun with it. Oh, okay. Well, let me for anyone who is interested, let me I think I can make I think I can make the robots tell you what the link to that Facebook group is. There you go. There's a link to the Facebook group if you're interested, but I'll post these on the community tab as well. I tend to post most of my makes in Lynn's group since we stream together and do all sorts of stuff. So it all pretty much works out. And I don't know. I feel like all these cards look better after you photograph them properly. But anyway, there's a lot of videos going live this week, so you'll probably. I don't think I'm planning to do any lives until next Sunday, but I think there's a hop on the 20th and there's a hop on the 21st, and I think I have a prickly pear video going up on Thursday. So big week for videos, but you should see all the things on that. Oh, yeah, T has a group too. Let me find it because I am bad at finding things. Let's see. Give me un momento to figure out how to work Facebook, and then I will find T's group. It is not afraid of color, but I will find the actual link. Here's the actual link. Here's the link to T's group. Or I think if you just search for "not afraid of color," it'll come up that way too, but I don't know. Facebook confuses me sometimes because they do weird things with the who's visible to what, when, where, and why. Anyway, so that's that, and, I will talk to you guys next week. As always, if you have ideas for projects or things you wanna see demoed, feel free to leave them below, and, I think it's fun to do demos that people are interested in, quite honestly, because it's sort of like I would have loved that when I was new, because it's sort of like I watched way too much YouTube and learned a lot, but there's always a lot of things that I think are tricky when you're starting out. Anyway, that is all that I have for you, and I hope you guys have just a fantastic rest of your weekend or depending, I guess I should say since Lala is here and I know Helen's been here on a couple occasions, whatever day it happens to be for you, like I'll say for the North Americas, it is Sunday night, and I hope everybody has a fantastic and drama-free and very calm getting into the holiday season sort of week. So have a great one, guys. Talk to you later.